One of the key things is that there are actually 6 dimensions of food well-being. You've got the physical, of course, but then it gets really interesting. Emotional, social, intellectual, spiritual, and this new dimension called self-determined.
Okay, break it down for us. That's got to be about eating your veggies, right?
It's partly about making healthy choices, but it's also about understanding your body's unique responses to different foods. Like what makes you feel energized? What leaves you feeling sluggish? FWB is about tuning into those signals and making choices that support your physical well-being. It's personalized nutrition, not just following some generic food pyramid.
So it's like a customized diet plan based on how your body reacts.
Yeah.
Not some one-size-fits-all